recommendations. But first, I'm going to track you back to the bit of the Constitutional Commission's report that came before that, which was its immediate recommendations.
Okay.
And the immediate recommendations were phrased as being absolutely essential for the effective functioning of devolution and for the government and governance of Wales. And some of those are repeated recommendations that we saw in 2014 in the Silk Commission. But those recommendations were very explicitly and very forcefully said, particularly by Laura and Rowan when they've been speaking about it afterwards, as things that are absolutely essential just for Wales to function properly and to fix the flaws in the existing devolution settlement. I mean, one of them was to formalise the informal tenets of the Sewel Convention.
The Sewel Convention means that the UK Parliament usually won't make laws on issues that are handled directly by the Scottish Parliament, Welsh Senedd or the Northern Ireland Assembly, unless that devolved body agrees for a formal vote called a legislative consent motion.
That breakdown in the relationship between Welsh Government and Westminster during the Boris Johnson era in particular couldn't happen again because Boris Johnson just ignored the Sewel Convention and there was a significant breakdown in relationships. And that's not good for anyone. And then, financial controls. At the moment, the Welsh Government doesn't really have any financial controls. So there's, Wales is already underfunded. The Barnett formula, I wrote quite a long explainer about the Barnett formula.
The Barnett formula is a method used by the UK government to calculate how much funding to give to devolved administrations in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. It's used to determine how the block grants given to those administrations change from year to year.
It's been around forever. It was thrown together as a patch. The person who created it has long since said that it's no longer fit for purpose. And yet the Barnett formula is still being used. It favours Scotland. Scotland does very well out of the Barnett formula relative to Wales. Wales does very badly and is constantly underfunded as a result. So, things like that are just not good enough. And then on top of that, because we don't have any adequate financial controls, when Wales, as in the past, been frugal and managed to preserve some of its budget for future use, at the end of the year, that money's been taken back by the Treasury. So the Treasury has just taken money back from Wales, a place where it's already not giving enough money and not even giving a just amount of money. So these things are considered essential and immediate changes. By the way, none of these things have happened. So the report has been out now for over a year and none of these things are being happened and no one's really talking about them. For me, it's a huge failing of this Welsh Labour government with a Welsh Labour government in Westminster that they're not pushing these 10 recommendations aggressively and insisting upon them. Devolution of broadcasting, why don't we have devolution of broadcasting? We've been talking about it again forever and ever and ever. The media in Wales is anemic. It is not bold and brave. And when you compare it again with Scotland and the much braver and more substantial media that they have there. Why can't Wales have a media like that? Iceland, 380,000 people, has a daily newspaper. It has about 25 TV channels. Some of them are sports channels, but 5 of them are two are public funded, 3 are just private, and they make money. 380,000 people. There's newspapers there that make money. If you can make money in a place in a nation that's the same size as Cardiff, with a thriving media, why can Wales not have its own thriving media? Well, probably because the infrastructure isn't there to allow the media to thrive, or an independent media to thrive in Wales. Energy, that's another one. That was one that was called upon. Again, it's not devolved. So energy in Wales is really problematic because Welsh Government is trying to do things in the energy sector around its responsibility for the economy, but it can't because energy isn't devolved. So you get this really odd patchwork, this jigsaw again, with all these pieces that don't fit together properly. And because pieces don't fit together properly, it just causes waste and inadequate solutions. And it's just incredibly frustrating for everyone, including energy companies. It's just frustrating for everyone. Justice and policing. These two were the ones that were in Paul Silk's report in 2014. As categoric recommendations. 10 years on, we're repeating the recommendation and no one's talking about it. There's some vague lip service to the devolution of youth justice. And that's it. But policing and justice. All of a sudden, Wales then has more capacity to do things in a holistic way and to change things in ways that improve the lives of the people of Wales. I mean, these things, they sound so dry, don't they? They sound so technical and dry and constitutional and unimportant. But what people don't understand is that these are the avenues, these are the systems, and this is the infrastructure that allows you to improve people's day-to-day lives at a ground level in villages and towns across Wales. So they're really important, but we don't talk about them enough. And then the last one was rail services and infrastructure. This one's incredibly notorious at the moment because of HS2. There's a bit of a blame game because the Welsh Labour government could have taken these years ago. You know, it was offered and they said no. But you can't, there's no point pointing the finger. Okay, you didn't take advantage then. You didn't have the bravery and boldness then. But look, it's categoric now. We should have this. So let's just do it. Let's put our hands up and insist. So all of those things were considered immediately essential in that Constitutional Commission report. 2 years of research, building on lots of other research, a cross-party consensus, which is an amazing achievement for that Constitutional Commission. Every single person on that Constitutional Commission agreed with all of these recommendations, whether they were a Tory or Plaid or Liberal, or Labour, all of them. And yet, this isn't being shouted out and being put front of centre of Welsh Government demands on a weekly basis. And it should be. The system is broken. We can fix it. You can help us by giving us these and doing it now in a sensible way. I mean, you can't just instantly devolve justice and policing, for example, because you're going to need some run into that. But if it's going to happen, you can start to plan it now and you can start to fund it and you can start to do it.